So some of you might remember that earlier this month, we actually talked about an attack that took place in Nigeria, in a place called Kwara State. Now, not only in Kwara State, it was in the capital, the heart of the capital of Kwara State, in a place called Babangla, where over 200 motorcycles that were carrying about 3 bandits on each of the motorcycle came into the heart of the city, went to the police station, destroyed the divisional police commander, shot him with 4 bullets, took his life in his cold blood, ransacked the whole place, and went to the market where some people, which the numbers were not disclosed by the official sources, were actually abducted, and some people were killed, right? So, heavy casualty, dark day in Kwara. But remember, we came back with a counterintelligence the next day that a bandit was actually caught. That bandit eventually mentioned the name of a man called Aro, that he has not been to that place before, but it was that Aro that actually brought him. Now, the bandit was a Fulani man. Now, we have a breakthrough, right? After some time, investigation ensued. We don't have to go into the details of this investigation because, these are things that a normal, sane country should be able to do, most especially with some of this, uneducated, tactically uneducated bandits, right? So what happened was that we got a breaking news that the monarchs in this particular vicinity have been arrested. The monarch of Babangla, the Oba of Babangla, whose face you can see on the screen, and the monarch of a particular place called Alabe, they've been arrested. Now, not only were they arrested, their wives were equally arrested. What happened? So, investigation, the guy that was beaten the other time, he had started talking. Probably they caught up with Aro. It's one person to another person, and, everybody is strong until they are being interrogated in the Nigerian style. And, when you're interrogated in the Nigerian style, they're not just going to be questioned, like in the United States where you'll be questioned, it's... No, in Nigeria questioning is so different. So, from interrogation led to the monarch of Babangla. So, it was the monarch of Alabe that was arrested initially. So, when they got to the apartment of the monarch, they met 90 million naira cash in the apartment of the king. Now, where the whole thing got twisted was, after, you are a monarch until the situation is very, very dangerous. So when they asked from the monarch, how come he had that huge amount of money in his apartment, the monarch actually said that he knows nothing about the presence of 90 million naira in his apartment. Is that even believable? Is that reasonable? A king, you have 90 million naira cash in your apartment and you don't know about it. You see, let's go forward. So, after he denied, the wife was summoned for interrogation. So, Nigerian kings, they used to have several wives, but they talked about a particular wife among the wives that had some amount of money. So, it happened that it was the wife that was in charge of this amount of money, this huge chunk of money. So the question was, who owns the money? Do you know them? What job does the people who own this money, what job do they do? She said she doesn't even know the people that are giving money, that are keeping money with her. She doesn't know the job they do. How come? 90 million naira. So after some further interrogation, they discovered that she had 38 million naira in a bank account. No traceable, reasonable source of income. Like, she could not account for anything. So they have now been taken to Abuja, right? That's the first one. Now, they moved to the Babangla palace. That was where they picked up the king too. And according to the information we had, they could not even talk about the amount they found with the king and the queen of that particular vicinity. Ladies and gentlemen, the money was related back to the attack, the bandit attack. Now, the thing about the Alabe was that it has always been there has always been kidnappings in these vicinities, and you know, according to what we were told, right, it's like the proceedings of those kidnapping will be given back, you know, to the king. We've actually had situations before where a Fulani man actually came out and said, Fulani attacks don't just happen. You don't just see Fulanis in your vicinity. Before they stay in your vicinity, going to about 1, 2, 3 months, they must have paid the king. This particular statement was made many months ago, and a lot of people were looking at it that, what's this guy talking about?
Did you know that 95% of the Fulanis that you are seeing in your village, we always used to pay your traditional rulers before we landed into your village? But some of you guys don't know anything about it. But seriously, any Fulanis that you can see in your village, or any Fulani that can spend like 1 to 3 or 5 months in your village, I see it, but they used to pay your traditional rulers. So we used to pay them money before they will allow us to stay like 1 to 3 months in their places. But if like you just pass, they will not collect them. But if we come and spend like 3 to 4 months, we must pay them. So I know some of you guys don't know about it. So we used to pay your traditional rulers. Serious about. I see so many people are saying we are going around with in the bushes that we did not own, which I say we used to pay for it. Actually, traditional rulers, I swear we used to pay them. If we will spend like 1 to 2 to 3 months, we'll go and find them. We'll give them money, they'll collect. Before we will stay. So stop saying we are going around with our cows in your bushes and we're not giving you guys anything, which it is wrong. We are paying. I say, Zam.
Now it has come out now. You know, now a lot of people will ask, why should they pay the king? What is the point in paying the king, right? Bello Torji, one of the biggest bandits in Nigeria, actually said something. He said, if you like what we do, according to him back then, he said, let us know. We will pay you, but we will kill your people, according to Bello Torji, right? Why he made that statement is simple. Bandits will pay you a big amount of money, but in turn, they are going to kidnap a lot of people. Now they're going to demand ransom. Recently, we were hearing some people, they said the ransom of those people is 600 million. So how much is 200 million in 600? The bandits still get to keep the majority of the money. And the bandits don't lose. Should in case the victim's relatives don't provide the money, they are going to harvest every organ in that victim. They are going to butcher, like, they don't lose. So, but the problem is, there is always an insider. Remember, we said it the other time that, look, this attack is somehow strange. If it can happen in the capital, in the heart of the city, there are a lot of insiders involved. And ladies and gentlemen, imagine the monarch, the king. So how do you justify the nobility and the royalty? How are we even going to say that this is a king? You know, politics has destroyed Nigeria. That is where we are still going to take everything back to. It's politics, because it is the politicians that pay the salaries of these kings. If some of them don't dance to the tune of the politicians, their salary will not be paid. You know, it's the politicians that give them, okay, you are a first class oba, you are a second class oba. You imagine. We've actually seen situations where politicians can actually remove a king. So, I don't understand. I don't know, but this is actually shocking. Now, let me now give you why this whole thing now, it has been discovered, right? It has been uncovered. But the biggest problem is, I think the people of Kwara needs to now prepare, because the whole thing is about to explode. And I'll tell you why. You see, if this king was captured in a place like Iran, in a place like Saudi Arabia, in a place like Indonesia, we all know what will happen, right? Immediate execution or something like that. But let me tell you the problem. The problem is, it happened in Nigeria. You don't understand. Immediately, some people heard that, oh, the king has been arrested and this, calls will start going. Which police station? which you will start seeing different politicians calling the headquarter, the AI, different calls would have been flying as we speak now. This is the thing about Nigeria that is very, very diabolic. That is why the citizens no longer believe in this country. So now, this king now, what he had done, even if they recovered all the money, would it bring back the life of the people that have been killed? That's why I say some people, in fact, in Nigeria, you have the most unpatriotic set of people. I stand with my 10 toes on that statement. You have the most unpatriotic. In fact, Nigeria is not a place. Now, I'm going to tell you this. They're going to take this king to wherever they want to take the king to, and the king will get royal treatment. I'm telling you now, in this situation, the king will still get royal treatment. And when they tell him that different calls are going to be going. Now, where are these calls going to be coming from? Let me just tell you, simple. The politicians that were looking for, that were soliciting for votes when, you know, maybe when they were looking for some political office and all of that, you know, they used to pay these kings too. So, you know, some of those people that be like, please help us seal up your environment so that we can have 100% votes here and all of that. You see, the whole thing still go back to democracy. It's a very, very, see, look. So, you know, they are going to start calling on his behalf. You know, because he's their ally. Can you help us tamper justice with Messi? Okay, what can we do? He's a royal person. We have to be able to package it so that, you know, this thing does not become a disgrace. You know, they will start trying to maneuver the whole thing. And the president is from a Yoruba tribe. These kings are Yoruba kings. I'm a Yoruba person. Let's not be sentimental here. They are going to try to maneuver. I'm telling you, this case, we are going to be monitoring this case, but I can tell you, you will not hear anything about this case again. The king will return. That king, they can only hide his face for a while. That king, those kings will return. I don't know if the proceeds, and how can the king say, both king, how can they say that they don't know about the proceeds of banditry? When you listen to what these bandits just said, they said it's their wife. I feel like the kings must have felt like, oh, this could blow up. Let me not put it in my own account. Let me put it in my wife's account. And how come you had 90 million naira cash in your house? Where did you withdraw the money from? Which bank? Can we track it back to the bank? These people they know about it. But the question now is that who will guard the guard? Who will judge the judges? Right? Who will judge them? Because I can tell you, this whole thing in the next 2 months, this is Nigeria. It's calls. They will tell you it's buttons. Right? That's what they will tell you. This is a country where corruption is like 5 and 6. I was in my place of work one day and somebody wanted to, you know, somebody came at the wrong time of the day. You know, I wanted to do something and he met me and one very old man. This man is he's almost in his 70s. He's also a colleague, but he has retired, but he got a locum job, right? Just to explain to you the type of country we are. So they brought the lady, the young girl who was brought by her parents, actually had talipes equinovarus. The legs were, you know, twisted. So when the patient was brought, they wanted to, you know, do some procedure. And it was in the wrong hour. So the receptionist said, oh, we don't attend to patients at this time. So I was just looking at everything from the distance. I wasn't talking. I just sat on my own. I was watching the whole thing. And the patient, the father of the patient said, look, you know, let's do it the alternative way. I was watching closely to listen to what, and before you know it, the man brought out money from his pocket. And the old man, who happens to be, you know, my colleague and all of that, he wanted to take the money. That was when I announced that. I wasn't like, they don't do that here. Keep your money in your pocket. We are going to attend to you, even though this is the odd hour. And we are not going to take this money. The old man beside me was looking at me with some very diabolic face. But no, I was like, I would do everything myself. Don't do that here. Don't. The man felt embarrassed. Yes, like we cannot continue to behave like animals in this country. And I'm telling you, if a king can be doing this, if this king now comes back now and nothing happens to that king, it will embolden this particular issue. More people will now continue to do it. Many illegitimate king now will now see it as a legitimate job. If the consequence is not dire, if they don't allow the rule of law to take its place in this particular case, many kings will now be working in connivance with bandits. They've said it before, we pay you, but we will kill your people. And that is what just happened. Caught one person, uncovered the next, and they traced it to the king. We have been hearing the stories about kings. But ladies and gentlemen, it's in the open now. Kindly drop your opinion in the comment section below. I don't even know if you have an opinion for us, because this is Nigeria. Nigeria and Ukraine, we don't know who is actually taking the lead when it comes to global corruption. But I think, I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about the situation? There are some operations going on in Burkina Faso, right? There are liberations of some territories, right? In Barabule, some territories. Burkina Faso have started covering some territories in the northern Barabule. Barabule is next to Djibo, right? They are covering the distance, but gradually, they are not moving at a very quick pace. They are trying to find the weaklings behind enemy lines, you know, getting reinforcements, containing the enemy, cutting out the logistics, and they are breaking the resistance of the enemy. The enemies are really showing some resistance. Like if you look at some of the equipments that, you know, have been recovered from these terrorists, even in some of the killings, you actually know that, yeah, this is really, really big. But the Burkinabes are getting some very, very big breakthrough with the drone technology, you know, the suicide drone, the reconnaissance drone. They have the edge already in this fight. But the terrorists are trying to fight back, you know, with their guerrilla attack here and there in places like Djibo. But at the end of the day, you know, Victoria Santa at the end of the day. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just going to be my only video of the day. I miss you a lot, and I hope you all miss me. Even if I've offended you with some of our comments, we want you to stay with us. Don't be mad at us. Thank you, and God bless you. Much respect.